These are 5 things about the Iran war that nobody is talking about. Number 1. Iran feeds the Middle East, and nobody seems to care. When people hear Iran, they think oil. They think nuclear weapons. They think missiles. Almost nobody thinks about agriculture. But here is a fact that should change how you see this entire conflict. Iran is the breadbasket of the Middle East. The wealthy Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, they look incredible from the outside. Glass towers, artificial islands, the most expensive hotels on earth. But almost none of them can grow their own food at scale. The desert does not cooperate. And for decades, a huge part of their food supply has flowed through or from Iran. Now think about what is happening right now. The Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed. Supply chains across the region are fracturing. Ports are disrupted. And Iran, the country that has been quietly feeding its neighbors for years, is under the heaviest bombardment in its modern history. Nobody on the news is asking the question that actually matters for the 60 million people living in the Gulf. Where does the food come from now? This is not a hypothetical. This is a logistics crisis that is unfolding right now, in real time, and it is barely a footnote in the coverage. Number 2. A $50,000 drone could leave 10 million people without water. This one is genuinely terrifying when you understand the engineering. Gulf countries get a staggering percentage of their fresh water from desalination plants. These are massive industrial facilities that take seawater and convert it into drinking water. Without them, cities like Riyadh, Dubai, Doha, and Abu Dhabi simply cannot function. There is not enough natural fresh water to support those populations. Now here is where it gets scary. Iran does not need a billion-dollar missile to cripple a desalination plant. A single Shahed drone, the kind Iran mass produces for roughly $50,000, could hit one of these facilities and knock out the water supply for millions of people within days. Iran does not need to win a traditional military war. It does not need to match the firepower of the United States or Israel. It just needs to make life in the Gulf completely unlivable. And the tools to do that are shockingly cheap and shockingly available. Military analysts have pointed out that this asymmetric capability is what makes Iran so dangerous, even in a weakened state. The question is not whether Iran can win a conventional war. It cannot. The question is how much damage it can inflict on the entire region before its arsenal runs dry. Number 3. The interceptor math is quietly bankrupting the defense. This is the part that should make every taxpayer pay attention. When Iran launches a ballistic missile, it does not take one interceptor to stop it. The ratio is roughly 25 interceptors for every single incoming missile, and each of those interceptors costs anywhere from 10 to 15 times more than the missile it is trying to stop. Now do the math. Iran fires 100 ballistic missiles in a single salvo. That is potentially 2,500 interceptors needed. Each one costs millions. Meanwhile, Iran's cheapest drones, the kamikaze Shaheds, cost about as much as a mid-range car. This is not a war Iran needs to win with precision. It is a war Iran can fight with volume. And every single missile the US and its allies are forced to intercept in the Gulf is one fewer interceptor available for something else. And that brings us to number 5. But first, number 4. Killing the leader has never ended a war. Not once. The killing of Ayatollah Khamenei was historic, no question. It was the single most significant decapitation strike in modern military history. The supreme leader of a nation, taken out in the opening minutes of an attack. But here is what history actually tells us about what happens next. The United States killed Osama bin Laden in 2011. The entire justification for being in Afghanistan was to get him. They got him. And then they stayed for 11 more years, fighting a war that got worse, not better, after the man they went in to kill was dead. The United States captured Saddam Hussein in 2003. Iraq spiraled into a decade of sectarian violence, insurgency, and chaos that gave birth to ISIS. A philosopher named Eric Hoffer once wrote that mass movements do not need a god, but they do need a devil. As long as the United States and the Western world can be framed as the enemy, the movement survives without a figurehead. And the chant, "Death to America," was never about one man. It was about an idea. Ideas do not die when you drop a bomb on them. The assumption that Khamenei's death ends this is not supported by a single historical example. Not one. Every time we have tried this, the aftermath was longer, bloodier, and more expensive than the strike itself. Now, could Iran be different? Maybe. 80% of Iranians were born after the 1979 revolution. They do not remember the old regime. Many of them are highly educated, Western-leaning, and desperate for change. There is a real argument that the population itself could build something new. But there is an equally real argument that a power vacuum gets filled by whoever is most ruthless, not whoever is most hopeful. We do not know which one it will be, and anyone who tells you they do is guessing. Number 5. The real winner of this war might not be in the Middle East at all. This is the one that keeps defense strategists up at night. While the United States burns through interceptors, cruise missiles, and naval resources in the Persian Gulf, there is one country watching more carefully than any other: China. Every interceptor spent over Iran is one fewer available to defend Taiwan. Every carrier strike group deployed to the Gulf is one not positioned in the Pacific. Every $1 billion in munitions expended is $1 billion that takes years to replenish. According to every official U.S. defense priority document, the number one strategic threat to the United States is not Iran. It is not even close. It is China. Iran is near the bottom of the list, and yet here we are, pouring resources into a conflict with a country that was already on the verge of collapse. Meanwhile, China is stockpiling. China is watching. China is taking notes on exactly how the U.S. fights, what it depletes, and where the gaps appear. The biggest consequence of the Iran war might not be felt in Tehran or Dubai or Washington. It might be felt in Taipei. And by the time we realize that, it could be too late to do anything about it. Those are 5 things almost nobody is covering right now. The food crisis hiding behind the missile footage. The water vulnerability that a single drone could exploit. The interceptor economics that are quietly draining the arsenal. The historical pattern that says killing the leader never ends the war. And the silent observer across the Pacific who might be the only real winner when the dust settles. If this helped you see the situation differently, subscribe. We break down what is actually happening, not just what is being shown to you.